What's up, guys? Darcy from Last One Stand Strategy. Today we're in beautiful Camel River, taking a look at some ideas for some bushcraft. Now, something that people are often thinking is, okay, I need to make this item. Where do I get the material to make the item? Personally, I like to bring less so I can do more. What this does is it trains a number of things like my D for whether it's different types of bone deposits, or my D for different types of material like rock or wood. So I kind of want to train that the whole time. At the same time, I'm looking for other things I can utilize, like little bits of garbage that I can utilize instead of something I can't find in the wilderness. Today, we're going to take a look at pulling some sinew, which is a tendon from this deer's leg, utilizing a piece of glass that we found here on the beach. This is a corpse that has obviously been picked over by some creatures. There's quite a few different things we can utilize here, but today, just in particular, we're going to be pulling one of the tendons out of this backbone. Alright, you guys, stay tuned. So, I'm going to check out this limb here. It's looking pretty good. Joint is holding strong still at the end of the arm here. There's not a lot of rot or anything. I'm going to use sharp edge of this glass along with a bag to hold it, just to save myself from getting cut. Last thing you want to do is get cutting up something that's dead. So I'm going to start at the top here, and then I'm going to go right down the inside. And you'd be surprised how many bits of glass you'll find on the beach that you can create an edge with. It doesn't need to be any sort of fancy napping. It's a single-use blade that it's going to hold the edge for all the stuff you need to do. Now, you want to be careful here so that you're cutting the skin, but not cutting the ligament that we want to utilize. There's all kinds of bits and pieces of this deer that we could utilize if we needed. There's this skin right here. It's quite fresh still. We could actually use this to make a type of glue by cooking it down. There's a whole range of things we could do with the bones here. Quite a bit actually. And they're pretty easy ways of carving them and processing them so we can get the shapes we want for things like needles and hooks and little bits and pieces for traps you might want to use to catch more creatures. You can see this is cutting down pretty good. There's a big ligament right here. You guys might be able to see it, but might not be able to use because it's so white. But what I got going on here, if you take a look, is we got a tendon right here, and we got another big one right here. Now this is really the one we're after right now, and it's a good sized tendon. One of the biggest ones that you're going to find is going to be in the back strap, along the back of the spine. But as you can see, that whole section has been picked clean off by the resident eagle that lives here and other creatures of the wilderness. So you can see that there, it's starting to separate a bit. You can see the vein, there's still a lot of blood in there. So one of the benefits of finding creatures in this kind of colder, temperate weather is that there's not a lot of rot. You don't see a lot of decay. So this creature might have been out here for almost a week by now, and there's still a lot that is in good shape on it. So whenever you're coming across roadkill or something that a hunter is just thrown away, when you consider what the weather's like, you know, if it's really hot out, then the meat is going to be spoiled a lot faster than it would be if it's in, you know, colder weather like we have here in BC. So, as you can see, we've got one little piece off the front there, and then we've got this larger piece we're pulling off the back. Now, you can see there's a divot in the bone that actually allows for all this connective tissue to really get in there. And that's often where you find the really strong stuff. So these pieces here, I will dry them out, and then I will smash them apart, and then I'll reconstruct fiber from these once they've gone through that process. And they will be stronger than almost anything I can buy in a store. Another benefit of working with sinew is that after I wet it, before I wrap it onto something or tie it onto something, it shrinks once it dries, creating a really tight bond. Now, let's take a look at some of the other elements here. One of them is this right here. And you can see a bit of this J shape. Because of this shape here that's naturally occurring, there's a lot of strength there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shave this part down real small, make it real sharp, and make myself a good strong hook. This bone is off the back of the jaw, where the jaw hinges on the top of the skull of this deer. So that's where you want to look for it. There's a number of other good bones within this body that we could utilize for that exact process. There's a few right here in the tops of the feet that we could slice back, expose, dry, cut in half, and then carve to find that same strength of shape in the bottom of it and create that same J hook. Of course, there's a whole bunch of other bones here that we could utilize for a number of different objects, different tools. Again, like I said before, we could use this skin, and even in this shape we could boil this down and start creating a glue out of it. These hoofs we could make glue out of, we could make rattles, we could make all kinds of stuff. The bones, they could be needles, they could be fish hooks, they could be scrapers for scraping hides, they could be made into knives, they could be made into arrowheads, they could be made into parts of traps. There is an enormous list that could be utilized from here. This could be your shopping center. Now the trick is learning how to harvest this stuff, when and where to harvest it, and then also then how to process it. So make sure you give yourself ample time to do all your research before you start mucking around. But again, out here, if I need to find something, it's better that I bring some primitive tools or I learn how to make them than I bring all my stuff with me all the time. Alright, you guys, take care.